Hello there. Welcome to this third attempt at recording this here video. I keep getting interrupted by family stuff. Anyway, my name's Dan. I like talking about Warhammer. I finally managed to book myself onto a tournament, sort of towards the end of August. I think it's the 28th, maybe, or the 24th could be. Yeah, it's probably the 24th, isn't it? Because 21st is a Wednesday, and that's our first pre-season friendly for rugby. So I might be turning up to a Warhammer tournament with an ear hanging off or something, which would be quite cool. Anyway, especially as I'm going as Kemri, like bits falling off. Anyway, so the popularity of the factions. So this is the meta show. We're going to talk through a load of stats. Essentially, if you've not seen this before, basically I talk through what the tournament stats are at the moment. I've collected a lot of data for tournaments and yeah, family stuff. Like my daughter is trying to have like a sleepover with one of her friends, and they keep stressing me out. Anyway, this is the problem. See, just to explain, like my setup, I sit in my front room, and my front room overlooks Central Park, and so there's lots of weirdness that goes on with people in that road there, because where I live in Boston is like. Boston's a bit of an odd town, putting it mildly. There's lots of curious behaviour, so I'm often trying to talk to the camera, and I'm seeing something weird going on over there. And anyway, we'll talk about some stats. I've collected a lot of data. Basically, we're looking at tournaments that have at least 10 players in, and essentially a total deployment of 60,000 points. So what that means is 10 players, 3 games, 2,000 points. There are 1,500 point tournaments. They just need more players. Basically, it's quite simple. Rather than 10 players, you'd need 1,500 point players. Basically, the reason for 10 players. 2K lists are pretty common as being like the tournament lists. They're kind of like the old-fashioned standard for tournaments is a 2K list. And the reason for that is, and the old world, they've got rid of that rule, but the reason for that was that essentially with... yeah? Thank you. The reason... the reason for this is going really well. The reason for that was that in Warhammer you got one lord. You got your first lord at 2,000 points. So you were like limited to like a lord choice, and then you had heroes which were like lower than lords, and then you had your core special rare, rather than just characters as we have in the old world. They used to have like lords, which were so essentially you wouldn't be able to take a level 4 wizard and a combat lord at the same time. You had to pick in the old version, so it wasn't as good in terms of the amount of characters that you can take. However, it was much better in terms of I think tightening down lists, as it were, so you weren't able to like a goblin army, for instance, couldn't take like 5 or 6 level 4 wizards, and just couldn't do it. Whereas in this edition, that seems pretty affordable, which is a bit weird. But I guess I know why they've done it, but whatever. Anyway, popularity. Skaven, Lizardmen are still very, very low, as are Ogre Kingdoms. This is all sorted by win percentage. So the one starting at 12 o'clock. Going round, Tomb Kings have the highest win percentage, Skaven has the lowest win percentage. And the reason I've done that is just to show that the popular factions aren't necessarily the ones that are doing best. As you can see, the bigger the bar size, that's the more the popularity, but the big slices of pie are kind of all over the pie, really. There's not really any clustering of any data. Like Dark Elves are kind of moderately bad at the moment, but still they're more popular than Skaven. They're better than Dwarves. Dark Elves are doing better than Dwarves, and hardly anybody's got any models. Moving on. This is a win percentage. It's a box and whisker plot. Just to explain what a box and whisker plot is, the box gives you the value, so 53%, 54%, is the win rate for Khemri, and the Whiskers give you like a normal range of results for players at tournaments. So if you're taking Khemri or Bretonnia, you're likely to get 2 to 4 wins. They're the only two factions where 4 wins at a 5-game tournament is pretty normal, Bretonnia and Khemri. You need to be winning all 5 with Bretonnia and Khemri if you want to consider yourself above average. Skaven, it's normal for them to lose all their games. So if you're turning up to a tournament and you're not winning a single game with Skaven, that's pretty normal. Don't feel too bad. If you're anybody else doing that, there's stuff to work on. There's learning opportunities. Skaven, if you've managed to win 1 game at a 3-game tournament, that's pretty normal. 2 games at a 5-game tournament, again, is pretty normal. 1 to 2, 0 to 2 really. But Skaven really need to be winning 3, 4, or 5 games at a 2-dayer, or a 5-game tournament. Well, actually, you could have a 5-game tournament that takes 1 day. I did see one a while ago. I was very interested in having a crack at that because it was like you start at 8 and finish at like midnight. But I thought that sounds quite interesting. I'd give that a go. Yeah. So again, this is sort of about win percentage. The ones with the narrower whiskers, with the shorter whiskers, basically that faction is a bit more reliable in terms of its results. Its results cluster more around that sort of central win percentage. Both sides. The win percentage over time. So the story of July was that we had an outlying couple of results with Dark Elves that really whacked up their win percentage. There were very few occasions on which Dark Elves were taken in July, and they just happened to do really well in a few smaller tournaments. So that was a bit of anomalous data. Chaos Dwarves had a really bad July as well, having got some really decent results over from the start really to through to June. July they had a really bad July, but they're back to their normal position now in August, so that will have brought their meta down a little bit overall. But other than that, the other factions seem to be sort of ticking along as per normal, apart from Demons of Chaos that have made this massive surge here. And I think that those values there are, who's that? Beastmen. Beastmen have made Beastmen started really strong, so I can't highlight it on here, but Beastmen started really, really strong. They I'll show you it on the actual chart, it's probably easier. So, oh no, that's not done anything really, has it? But yeah, Beastmen started pretty strong, like they were top of the meta in April. May they struggled a little bit. June and July they continued on this downward slope, but they're back up to their winning ways again in August. So Beastmen have had a bit of a torrid time of it. This is Demons of Chaos that have been gradually that was so March. There's a lot of anomalies in March, so you can more or less just ignore March. So Demons really started here with a really low win percentage, not doing very well. August, they've had a couple of decent tournament results, and again, not a lot of people have taken them, so it's a bit anomalous. You will see more variability in these factions with fewer people taking them. Whereas something like Kingdoms of Bretonnia, you can see have been pretty reliably good all the way through. As have Khemri really. Khemri had a bad July, but a bad July for them meant a 46% win rate, which was, that's still, I would consider to be, that's where it should be. I mean, basically, if the game was totally balanced, every single faction would be win rate at around about 46-47%. Why? Because draws exist, and actually that win percentage should be lower because draws are more common in the old world than any other game. So, yeah. In fact, I wish draws were more common still. I think draws should be, like, not 100 points either way, but should be like 250. Like, I want to see draws more often, really. They make for a much more entertaining meta, and they make for much more entertaining tournament results, I think, if more people are drawing than winning. But consensus seems to be 100 points either way is a draw, as has been defined so far. Wood Elves are coming back. Like, they started off pretty average, struggled a bit. July and August, though, they've had a good couple of months. They've, I think we've been reading quite a lot of Wood Elf army lists out in July and August. So yeah, and here's poor old Skaven, who started poorly, went worse, and are gradually recovering, but still, 30% win rate is pretty terrible. The only faction with a lower win percentage is Lizardmen with 29%. So Robbie, my friend from the north, you need to get your Lizardmen out and get cracking, because they're falling behind massively. I too need to get my Lizardmen. I haven't got any around here, but I too need to get my Lizardmen out and give them a few games. But yeah, I'd like to do one tournament a month if possible, but it's not going to be possible. Anyway, so that's win percentage over time. Interesting stats. Interesting to see how that's developing. The rank percentile is essentially, so a rank percentile, if you finish first, you're like 100%. So I've inverted the percentile. So normally if you're top, you'd be like the first percentile. So that means you're in the top 1% basically of results. So if there's 100 players and you finish first, you'd be the 100th percentile. And if you'll be the first percentile, and if you're bottom, you'd be the 100th percentile. But I've flipped it because I wanted a positive score, i.e. 100, or sorry, 1. I wanted 1 to be a better result. So people who finished higher get a higher score, because that's factors into my player score. So I've inverted it. So to me, the 100th percentile is the best, and the first percentile is the worst. So if you finish top of an event, you're going to get a score of 100% or 1, and if you finish bottom, you're going to get 0.0 something or other, depending on how many players there are. This is ordered by win percentage, and the reason for that is to kind of really just check for anything anomalous. So, for instance, demons are doing better than dark elves, like tournament results in tournaments. So they've got a higher rank percentile. However, they've got a lower win percentage. That means that demons are better in tournaments than dark elves, despite the fact that they don't win as many games in general. There's a sort of high elf vampire count thing going on here. Wood elf, chaos dwarfs here as well. Warriors of Chaos and Beastmen, sort of something slightly similar there. The biggest one, however, is like Dwarf and Mountain Holds, who I think Empire seems similar, but Lizardmen, so they've got 2, maybe 3 factions that are below them in terms of win percentage, that are higher than them, possibly in terms of rank percentile finish. I'll just check the meta results. Average of rank percentile. Dwarfs is, what's the actual stat? It is 45%, and Empire are on 44, so Empire are slightly lower. My screen is slightly angled, so I'm not sure whether it's the angle of the screen or it's actually lower. So yeah, Empire of Man are slightly lower, but Dwarves are certainly not finishing as high in tournaments as Lizardmen or Ogres, despite having, as we saw from elsewhere, much better win percentages than they're on 42ish, and Lizardmen are on 38. So Lizardmen have got like 4 or 5 percentage points lower in terms of win percentages, and yet they're still finishing higher in terms of tournament placings. What that really means is that dwarves aren't good at either stomping the opposition when they can, so they find it difficult to table opponents, or alternately, when they lose big. Now, knowing dwarves, actually dwarves tend to lose by very little and also win by very little. They seem to be one of the factions that has the highest percentage of draws out of all the factions are dwarves. So they're very good at not dying, but they're also not tremendously good at killing stuff. So that's why they don't do very well in tournaments, because they don't get those massive wins. And in order to win a tournament, if you're doing a one-day tournament and you've got 3 games, if you can win all 3, you'll probably win the tournament. But if there's a lot of players, like if there's 30 or 40 players, there'll be a few people winning all 3. So you need to get at least 1 or 2 results where you totally smash the opposition, right? Dwarves can't really do that. So on an average tournament, if they're like, let's say, winning 1 game, drawing 1 and losing 1, the win, they won't get that many kill points on a win, and therefore that won't bump them up the table as much as it should. The loss, they won't lose by as much, so that will give them some points as well. but they don't get those massive wins. If they got a massive win, a narrow defeat, and then a draw, they probably position a couple of points positions. They would probably finish a couple of positions ahead of where they are. But anyway, that I'm not going to do anymore. I'm not doing that rank thing anymore. It's not very helpful. It's not somebody else, is it? No, good. This chart is all or nothing. So we've looked at like normal results. So normal is like where people are clustered. So, wood elves normally finish about halfway up the table, but tend to finish in the middle. The good thing is actually looking at this that most factions are more or less in the same range of results. So the game is fairly well balanced from probably orcs and goblins upwards. This bit of the meta is pretty well balanced. It's these factions that are causing problems, so they need sorting. Dwarves have just had a book though, so hopefully that should sort them. So the last thing to look at is the extreme. So this is all or nothing. This is what I call all or nothing. So the blue bar is basically no wins, and the green bar is winning all their games. So winning 0 of your games or winning all of your games. Now, winning no games is actually quite difficult at a tournament, but it's way more difficult to win all of your games. So basically, the green bar should be lower than the blue bar for all these factions, and it's not. So Vampire Counts, more people have won all their games as a proportion of all Vampire Counts players. You're more likely to win. If you have taken Vampire Counts to a tournament, you are more likely to have won all your games than to have lost all your games. These three factions here are, to me, slightly broken somehow. Vampire Counts, because they've got lots of stuff going for them. I think, the Scepter of de Noiro allowing you to do Invocation of Nehek twice every single turn. Yes, it might hurt you and do a wound, but like twice every single turn, that's pretty broken. Considering you can just stick your Necromancer near a BSB and re-roll all those leadership tests, like it's a bit broken. The Wailing Dirge is a bit of a problem. The fact that you can resurrect Blood Knights is a massive issue because they're so good. Like being able to resurrect Grail Knights on a simple leadership test seems a bit kind of. I mean, I get that they want to allow like vampires to be resurrected, but like not your level plus D3 for Grail Knights. For Blood Knights. Thank you very much. That seems a bit much. Maybe just the wizard's level and not the extra, because that would still be like 4, right? Which would still be really good. You don't need 4 plus D3, times 2. That's why my vampire, I'm like rebasing at the moment, so I've got these guys that I had. I spent ages on their bases essentially, and they're all on round bases because I did them for Soulblight. So I'm trying to rebase them at the moment. Anyway, I've got like 10 of the Blood Knights that I've painted in a rather fetching yellow armour. But yeah, they look cool, and yeah. So anyway, my list has got 9 Blood Knights in, and there's a little Necromancer that sort of follows them around, and that's about it. But whatever. What am I talking about? I'm waffling on it. Oh, all or nothing. All or nothing. Yeah, Bretonia, I think, is a bit overly broken. They've got 14%. So basically, Bretonia and Vampire Counts, 1 in 7 of their players, more or less, have won all their games. Kingdom of Bretonia, only 8% of players have lost all their games, which is the lowest out of all the factions. So actually losing all your games with Bretonia, you've got less than 1 in a 10% chance of doing that. You've got more than a 1 in 10% chance of winning all your games with Bretonia, Tomb Kings, Vampire Counts, and Beastmen, actually. Oh, and Chaos Dwarves is 1 in 10. The rest are below 1 in 10. Some only just, but very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Right, and then the last thing I wanted to do is talk about the player rankings. So essentially I've come up with a metric, which is this player score metric over here. I'll tell you how it's worked out. It's basically the rank percentage, again, so that's why I wanted it to be a higher score to be better, because it factors into this player score. So it's the rank percentage there is an amount included for the amount of points deployed. So there's a kind of corrective value for larger tournaments, and then I've essentially degraded that player score over time. So it's basically where you finish in a tournament, and the size of the tournament that is. And then degraded over time. So results from a year ago will be worth roughly half, give or take, what they're worth now. Or actually, it's just below half, actually, because I'm using an exponential. I'm using E, which is 1.61 something or other, rather than... So, actually, it won't be half, will it? It'll be about a third, won't it? It'll be about a third, and then a sixth, and then... Anyway, yeah, nobody really cares about that kind of maths. So, yeah, and I've done this where I've ordered the factions by like the total of the player score. This is a T-test, player score versus win percentage. I did average of player score, and the T-test was like 45%, which meant that that's more or less the same result. However, if you add up the player score, you get a very statistically different array of data. So this will be my sort of faction. I need to get that over time, but cumulatively over time, and I can't quite work out how to do that with pivot charts yet. But anyway, Phil Carl, because he's gone to another tournament and done quite well again, has managed to overtake Luna at the top of the global player rankings. I say the global, somebody else might have done some. If anybody knows if anybody else is doing something similar, hit me up in the comments. I'd really like to reach out and have a chat with them if anybody else is doing stats. Sorry, there's this lady who's just walked past in a Tesco uniform. The problem is the Tesco supermarket, it's a hot day today, and the Tesco supermarket is bloody miles away. It's about, 4 miles away from where I am? I guess you could walk it in the morning. I'm quite heavy to walk that distance, and it'd be leisurely. But Luna, however, still has gone to 5 tournaments and won every single one, which is a very, very impressive result. But Phil Carl has gone to another three-game tournament, and that's just tipped him over Luna. Liam Jordan, who has been to 5, is in 3rd there. Matt Howley in 4th. There are some weird naming things that happen later on when, like, I don't know who Nicoperor is. This is why I want to get this on the website so people can sort of go in and, or at least email me and correct, their entries. There's a chap I'm talking to on Friday called Josh, who, not him. Oh, Josh. Oh, there's quite a few. Josh Hartley? Was it Hartley? I am absolutely awful with names. Yeah, one tournament, won it, 5 game. Yeah, that's him. He said he'd been to a few tournaments. The only one I've got is this one. Is Vampire Counts. Yeah, in Utah. But apparently he's got a channel and wants to have a chat about something or other. But yeah, that's the only result I've got. When I go through the tournaments so I'm going to go through the tournaments in a sec just to check that, just to go through some lists basically, but also to go through the ones that I haven't included and why, just so people are clear. So yeah, that's the top 20 players in the world at the moment. Christian does feature in this video as well a little bit. Richie Amphlett, he's the dwarf guy. So these are the top guys, and there's Robbie, my lizard friend from up north, related to the Queen. I'm joking. It's that David Icke thing about the royals being all lizards. It's not a joke. They think it's real. But I think it's a joke. It's quite funny. Anyway. Yeah, so that's the top 20 players according to this player score. I'm reasonably happy with the way it's shaping out in terms of like how it's degrading results over time and how it's placing people. I think results like this, so Zach Thompson, who's got he's won half his games, he's 8th according to this. I need to do something to add in something that corrects for win percentage, but not too much, because I do want it to be like experience to be something that matters. Maybe more than results, actually. I'm not sure, because at the moment it's kind of 50-50 experience and results. So there are players lower down that have got like 4 or 5 tournaments and have got like a win percentage of like 20-30%. There's one guy in particular who's got like 5 or 6 results, and he's, I don't want to name him, but he's basically taking Skaven and just crashing and burning every weekend. And so it's not all. So I'm not saying Zach's a. In fact, what has Zach taken? That's Wood Elves. There you go. So Wood Elves, the models aren't available. We're just trying to work out how they work. He's done March, April, May, June. He's done a tournament in those 4 months, and then he hasn't done one over summer. So so that should degrade over time, really. But I got a four win at a 5-game tournament, which is an excellent result, really. He's got a 3 and a... So he's actually, yes, his win percentage is quite low, but he will have featured because of where he finished in the tournament, and actually this will have got him quite high in the tournament. He managed to lose all 3 games at this particular tournament, but that's only a three-game tournament, and that was quite a small one, so that will be... The player score for that will be minuscule, but so it won't really make much of a difference. The most of his player score is coming from this result here, i.e. the more recent one, which is pretty normal. But again, he went undefeated, so yes, he's got a 60% win rate. He also drew 2, so conceivably, do you see what I mean? So it's the win percentage. I don't like looking at win percentage in isolation, because once you get behind the win percentage, actually you start to see more interesting data. Michael Appleton here, rank percentage, on average finishes in the second half. Is it just because he's been to a few tournaments? Well, Michael Appleton has taken Beastmen to 5 tournaments in England, quite a lot at Square Base stuff. He's been to 3 5-game tournaments and 2 3-game tournaments. This one was his smallest, and he's been to one in March, April, June, July, and one a couple of weekends ago. A gathering of dragon hunters. And won 4 games at that one, so well done to him for that. And that's one of the biggest contributors to his player score. So the point I'm making is that, yes, he's had a few results early doors where he's kind of struggled a little bit, and he's not done quite so well with the faction, but he is improving over time, and it's the most recent result that's going to add the biggest score to your individual score. So it's that result there. Really, I mean, the rest of it's useful because the rest of it's contributed like 1.4 to his player score. So that last result has given him 1.05, which has pushed him into this top lot. If he'd have got like a worse result, he'd be down here. Do you know what I mean? So these 2 scores in isolation don't really tell you much, but that's why I'm quite happy with the player score, because it shows those players that have recently done quite well but have a track record of turning up and having a go at stuff. So somebody like Michael is gradually improving over time. It's showing that improvement is paying off, and actually what he's doing more recently is working. So I'm pretty happy with that. Once you start to actually look at the data behind the data, it kind of makes sense as to why people here with like win percentages and rank percentages that look pretty bad, well, actually, when you look into it, their averages were historic. So that's why I want to have this kind of degrading effect over time of results, so that essentially, yes, all of your results count. So it's not like some tournament systems where they take the best 4 scores and that's your best. I don't really like that as a thing, because people just try and turn up to more tournaments to try and get the maximum score per tournament, and then you end up with essentially somebody getting their maximum score on 4 tournaments or whatever. They've already got their player score of like 480 or whatever it is, because it might be 120 per tournament. Sorry. So they've already got their player score up to like 480, and they don't need to play any more that year. Whereas other players, do you know what I mean? So that's why I wanted to count all scores, but also have much more weight to the most recent score. So essentially, you're only as good as your last match, right? So if you do get a really good score, then that's really gonna help you out. Cool. But actually, you can rest on your laurels for a little bit. Like Robbie, who I don't think he's actually been to a tournament in a while. When was his last one? Oh no, July. Sorry, I do tell a lie. I went February, March, then one in July. That I've got the data for. So anyway, so that's the player scores. Again, when I get up to a 1,000 subs, I'll sort out my new website. It's just that's taking a while. So I'm anticipating it's not going to be very good, and it's taking a while basically because I've got all the ideas. I know the plugins I'm going to use. I've done the design. I've got a new logo and stuff sorted. I just need to. There's a lot of actual time and effort I need to invest in, just setting up the stuff. It's like buying the domain. There's some not merch, but there's some products that I want to try and sell that are pretty good. I think that'll help people play the game and will be quite useful at tournaments. I just need to order samples and make sure the quality's all right and all that kind of nonsense. So there's a lot of time I need to invest in actually just getting everything going. But once I get everything going, then then it should all happen. And the other thing as well is if I'm going to be selling stuff that makes people's lives easier, the point is to make people's lives easier, not to make me money. So and also not to take any of my time, because I do actually have an actual day job that pays me a decent amount of money. So I've got to go and do that. It's just a time investment. Anyway, I'm half an hour in and I've only just finished talking about stats. So let's talk about not that, or that, or that. There we go. Let's talk about this. So Metropolis Centre Old World. Is there a reason that I put that this side? Normally I put the ones that I haven't included. Right. So this tournament I didn't include. Warhammer the Old World, the Book of Grudges. And the main reason for that is that some of these have weird scores. So there's 3-2-4 loss here and a 14-44 win there, which doesn't make any sense. I don't really know what that really relates to. So apologies guys, but this one there's no pack. So I don't know what's going on with this one, so I can't really include it. Matt Kelly, congrats to Matt for winning it with a reasonably standard Bretonnian list. The one thing that's not standard is this massive block of 10 Pegasus Knights, which seems pretty scary. But other than that, there's a vampire count, Dom, that came in second. Well done to Dom. He's put the standard of Hellish Vigor, which is reserve move. Presumably that White Lord goes in this Grey Guard, who've got the obvious Drakenhof banner, which gives them a 5-up regen. And they've got Drilled and Implacable Defense, so they get to move twice regardless, probably. He's got some other stuff. There's that Sceptre of Dunwaro, as usual. A couple of Tomb Banshees. And the Terrorgeist. Quite a lot of TOs. Pardon me. Jesus. Quite a lot of TOs have started ruling it that you're only allowed 3 units with the Wailing Dirge ability and Vampire Count. So that kind of rule of 3 applies to the Wailing Dirge ability itself. I think that's a really good way of balancing Vampire Counts. It's not the only problem that Vampire Counts have, though. You see a lot of Vampire Counts units doing really well in tournaments, and basically they've got, they've only got 3 Wailing Dirges. That's a pretty common but they're still doing really well. And I think it's this Sceptre of Dunwaro that's pretty problematic, to be honest. As well as there's lots of things that are problematic about them, to be honest. Resurrecting Blood Knights being one of them, absolutely ridiculous, because they've got 2-up saves, 6-up regen, Jesus. Absolute nightmare. Oh, God. I feel slightly sick. And then Cameron Swarbrick, I did say Warriors of Chaos were struggling, not in Cameron's world. It came in third, so well done, Cameron. He's got a general on a dragon? No, on a demonic mount. With Favour of the Gods, Ogre Blade. Yeah, so that's interesting. And then Sorcerer Lord, also not on the dragon. And then Exalted Champion, who's a BSB, not a sparring champion, so that's the decent champion. Chaos are a bit weird in that they have two levels of like combat lord who can be the battle standard bearer. One of them is like a pretty standard, you know, just a bit better than the champion, like 2 wound, you know, 2 attack, that kind of thing. Exalted Champion's the one that's like on par with most other factions' lords, basically, but he can be a battle standard bearer. Warhounds 11 warriors with Khorne, additional weapons. I suppose that would hit quite hard, wouldn't it, with all the attacks? But some Forsaken by Khorne, which Forsaken by Khorne gives them hatred everyone, so they get to reroll hits. Which is pretty useful, actually. It's Khorne or Slaanesh for me with Forsaken. Khorne gives you, again, hatred everyone, so that's reroll all hits in the first round of combat. But Slaanesh gives you Swift Stride, so it's debatable which one's better. Then we've got Chaos Warriors, 10 of them. Tzeentch. Is this Tzeentch on foot? Yeah. So he's, sorry. People keep telling me off for yawning. I don't know why I'm yawning so much this morning. Putting the Lord in the Chaos Warriors to give him +1 to cast. That's why that's there. And then we've got the Infernal Puppet, Ruby Ring of Ruin, Favour of the Gods, and Spell Familiar. Spell Familiar gives him 5 spells. In the unit gives him +1 to cast, which is effectively a level 5 wizard, more or less. Infernal Puppet is it's a spell debuff thing. Then we've got some Spawn and some Ogres of Khorne. Ogres of Khorne. Oh, with great weapons. How exciting. Oh, Chaos Ogres. Lovely, lovely. I can't wait for them to come back out again. They look great. And then we've got a Chaos Giant. I really like Chaos Giants. I think they're really good. Yeah, well done to those guys. But sorry, I can't include you because I have no idea what your results are. Because your TO decided not to. Now, this one, I did kind of work it out in the end because the maximum score here is 20. So I'm assuming that 10 is a draw and that any other result above 10 is a win and any below 10 is a... But people are using these scorings. What they do is... And it's very annoying. They basically say, class every result as a draw. Just put your points in, and then it'll work it out from there. So everybody's down as having 5 draws, but like, I don't know why they didn't just anyway. Because you can have it, whereas you can have it so it shows wins and losses as well. So it's not that difficult. You just set up best case pairings wrong. Anyway, this was a 5-game tournament in Sweden. And yes, well done to Slaget Merlin Drakbergen. Maybe. No, Swedish accent's got like a more of a hurdy-gurdy sort of Slaget Merlin Drakbergen. Maybe, I don't know. Schlaget Merlin Dragbergen. Are they rolling all R's? Like, is it German? Because Germans, they roll all the R's all the time. Anyway, Linus Valin managed to win with Kingdom of Britannia. Apologies, I must say, if I butcher anybody's name or anything. I try my best, but it's I don't know all accents in the world, I'm afraid. Jonas Ivarsson comes in second with the Chaos Dwarves, so well done to John. And Goran Farm comes in third with Warriors of Chaos. Warriors of Chaos coming in fourth as well. I did say they were doing difficult. Per Nielsen, I know that name from somewhere. Let's have a look at his list. So Linus, who managed to win the tournament. Green Knight, excellent, lovely. Green Knight, oh, he's gone for Exile. So Green Knight outcasts Wizard with a Ruby Ring of Ruin and Dark Magic. I wonder why Dark Magic. And then we've got a Paladin. who's a BSB on a Pegasus. So the Paladin's got the Gromwell and the Virtue and that. And then we've got a Baron with a Pegasus and a Frontier Axe, which is amazing. It's like +2 strength, AP3, and other stuff. The Falkenhorn of Fredemund, which is pretty much an auto-include. Then we've got some mounted Yeomen, some Peasant Bowmen, some mounted Knights of the Realm. We've got loads of Pegasus Knights, which is excellent. And a Bombard. Bombards are great. You need 2 of them. Other than that, I think this list is pretty on point, to be honest. I think he's absolutely smashed it. This looks really interesting. I'd love to know how that plays, actually. That's a really interesting Bretonnia list with the mandatory units of Pegasus Knights to actually win the game. But, yeah. Cool. Well done, Linus. Jonas came second with... Wow. So, we've got a Sorcerer of Hashut on a Bale Taurus with 3 Mantles of Stone, so he's up to toughness 9. That's fantastic. Law of Demonology, he can give himself... I think it's one of their spells, he can give himself +1 toughness for a turn anyway. So he can make himself toughness 10, which is great, on a big flappy monster thing. Oh, lovely. Well done, Jonas. Fantastic. Demon Smith Sorcerer there. Demon Smiths are great because they've got the Engineer rules as well. So it's a level 2 Wizard Engineer, which is just brilliant. And then a Hobgoblin Khan because he wants some Hobgoblins. Wolf Riders, yes, 5 of them here. Excellent. Yeah, you have to take a Khan to take some Wolf Riders, but they are like the best fast cavalry in the game. So he's taking the unit. I guess maybe just to try him out. He's got the Dreadquake Mortar. That's pretty much an auto-include. Basically what happens is you pick a point on the table, you target. It doesn't really matter if it scatters that much because it's got a much bigger effect, and that is to turn off Swift Stride to units close by where it hits. So, you know, you want your artillery dice re-roll. That's why he's got the Demon Smith there. So you can make sure it's going to hit the target and turn off Swift Stride for their cavalry. And that's why he's got that, to stop their cavalry from getting Swift Stride. So he's set up a long bomb charge. No, Dreadquake Mortar hits nearby. No, you haven't. I can shoot you for another turn. He's got a load of Hobgoblin Cutthroats who are incredibly cheap. He's got... a big unit of 23 Infernal Guard without the Infernal Guard. Yeah, they're the elite ones, aren't they? Yeah, no blunderbusses. But I guess these hobgoblins cost 3 points per model. Each of these hobgoblins cost the same as the blunderbuss upgrade, so you'd have to get rid of probably 2 of these units to upgrade them to have blunderbusses if he wanted to. Instead, he's got a couple of Iron Demons with Hellbound. I'm not sure it's really worth Hellbound, to be honest, because it can have negative consequences as well. Not both of them, maybe one, but yeah, you're probably better off putting your Dreadquake Mortar. You're probably better off getting your Ogre Loader because basically it doesn't fire every turn. So you have to roll the dice, and on I think it's a 3-up, you can fire that turn, and on a 1 or 2, you have to wait until next turn. But if you've got an Ogre Loader, that becomes on a 2-up, and I think the Ogre Loader is only like 2 points, and the Ogre Loader gives you more attacks in combat, so it's sort of slightly scarier in combat. So, you know, maybe drop the Hellbound and go for the Ogre Loader. But other than that, this list is great. And he's got lots of Hobgoblin Cutthroats with short bows. Yeah, just to kind of gum up the table and just, you know, maybe do a bit of whatever. And this Sorcerer Lord of Hashut is just going to fly into things and just wreck stuff. Because, like, yeah, it hasn't got an awful lot of defensive, like, armour and all the rest, but it is toughness 9. So... you know, even your high elf lord with his strength 7 dragon is going to be rolling 6s to wound, which is just nuts, absolutely nuts. And the Bale Taurus there's no slouch in combat, so that's a very good list. Well done, Jonas. That probably deserved to win, but unfortunately didn't make it. Goran with Warriors of Chaos. We've got an Exalted Sorcerer who's level 2 Mark of Zinch. Interesting. Sorcerer level 4 Mark of Zinch. Interesting. Brazen Collar, Dark Magic. That one's got Battle Magic and Law for... So this one's going to cast the little template thing that he's going to move around. He's got a Chaos Steed, so this one goes on the flank. Cast that little template thing, and then hopefully, if your opponent's been done with how they've set up their army, you can get it to travel across the entire army. Because templates don't stop on models, they keep going. So if you've got somebody's entire army there, and you put the template there and move it there, it just keeps going across the whole thing before dropping off the other side. So if you got a little... That's quite clever, if that's what he's going for. He's got a Sorcerer Lord on a Chaos Steed. Have we got... interesting. These have got... Chaos Knights have got Mark of Tzeentch. So these will be unit strength 12. So perhaps one of the sorcerers can go in there. And the Chosen have got Slaanesh. I mean, I typically don't tend to bother with... Everything seems to have a Brazen Collar. That seems to be quite common. That's interesting. Marauder Horsemen, typically you give them flails and corn and just like ping them off into stuff, loads of attacks and just hope they do well. A couple of Warhounds, don't really need them because there's not a lot that you're really screening. And then a Gorbies, that's a weird list, I don't know how that works. So you've got some Knights, Marauder Horsemen, and they've got a big block of 15 Marauders with a Mark of Tzeentch. Why would you give them the Mark of Tzeentch? What goes in them? Is he on foot? No, he's in a Gorbeast chariot. So we've got 2 Gorbeast chariots. Some Chosen Knights. There's a lot of stuff here that's individually quite good. Sorcerer Lord with Dark Magic. Dark Magic's got a couple of good buffing spells, so maybe he's going to buff up that unit of Knights, or maybe some Marauders, or whatever. Yeah, I don't know how he's attempting to do that. But he came third, so obviously he knows what he's talking about. He won 3 games. 2 of them absolutely tabled the opponent, which is interesting. Including his last game. That's quite rare, because normally your last game is your hardest. Matthias Bergström, who didn't finish top table. Interesting. And that was on table 3. Matthias was also Warriors of Chaos, Sorcerer, Demon Prince, Exotic Champion, War, Knights, Warriors, Dragon Ogres, Chimera. Yeah, so this is rubbish. Normal Warriors are pretty rubbish, to be honest. Normal Knights are pretty rubbish. Yeah, they're core, but there's better stuff in core. A single Dragon Ogre, well, make it a Shartok, and like you could have had 3 Shartoks just rocking around. These will get combat resed out of the picture. But, you know, they'll be pretty good for a turn because they take a while to kill. So they're actually at least going to slap something. Maybe they just roll badly when they got into combat. That's a waste on him because he's only got like 4 attacks. It's a very expensive way of, you know, because basically if you charge him into a dragon, he's going to have his 4 attacks, you won't get your 6 to wound, and then he'll just die. He's unstable as well, so if you lose combat by a couple of points, he's only got like 4 wounds, so then you just die. So I don't like the Demon Prince at all, really. I know other people do, but I just don't. I just see him. I don't know how to keep him alive. Which is a pity because I've got loads of them. Models, I mean, kicking around. And Per Nielsen, Demons of Chaos, Keeper Secrets. Aetherblade means no armor saves at all, which is great. Illusion, oh my god. He's gone for Illusion because he wants to get Spectral Doppelganger with the Aetherblade. So 2d6 strength 6 hits with no armor saves. Ugh, horrible. Very good though. Then we've got Herald. Seekers. Seekers I think are great. They're just so quick and they do that light cavalry job so well. A big block of lots of demonettes, some Seeker Chariots and some Fiends, which is pretty much all you can take as Slaanesh, to be honest. So that is a pretty standard Slaanesh army. your only choice really is, do I make that unit a Slaanesh? Do I make one of them bigger and give them the banner of like minus D3 initiative and weapon skill or whatever it is? But yeah, pretty good list. Interesting. So Schlaget Merlin Drakbergen went on, and Lina Schwarlin managed to take the win. So well done. What's 11 in Spanish? I can't bloody remember. What's 10? Is that Diacere or something like that? I can't remember. Anyway, on the 11th of August, 11th de agosto, at Carrer de Rosello, because that's a Y, isn't it? De Rosello y Cazador in Spain. Double L, is that like Welsh? Is that like a hl sound? So Luis Beltran, maybe Luis Beltran, could be. Apologies if I'm butchering your name. Managed to get several players together, 10 in fact, to play some Warhammer, and Clement Canaves didn't submit his list. In fact, nobody submitted their list, did they? No list submitted. But anyway, well done to Clement, taking it out with Bretonia. Wood Elves coming in second, Tommy Verdura, and Pep Forteza with Wood Elves coming in. So second and third, Wood Elves. Lots of Wood Elves, actually. 3 Wood Elves in this tournament. So Wood Elves are obviously very popular in Spain. Then Warlords of the North. Let's have a look at that. Warlords of the North, which took place in England. I can pronounce that one fine, I think. Georgios Margitis with Mountain Holds Dwarves came top. Nice to see. New book. Let's see if there is anything out of the new book. We've got Dark Elves coming second and Vampire Counts coming third. There's 21 players here, so this isn't a small 3-game tournament. This is a reasonable size, so it's not like there's only 10 people there. Oh my god. So he's gone for Gotrek Dragonslayer, which is a king with a hand weapon, great weapon, full plate, general, shield bearers. Oh, has he got the Gotrek model on shield bearers? Oh, so cool. 2 extra attacks and a rune of preservation, which gives him a 6 at ward, and a master rune of Gromril. Master Rune of Gromwell. Is that the one that's a 2-up save? I think. Hold on. I will just have a quick look at the book. Good guys. Dwarf and Mountain Holds. I've gone too far. That looks like Empire. Master Rune of Gromril. 2+ save, yeah. So he's got a 2+ save, he's got a 6+ ward, he's got 2 extra attacks, and he's got the shield bearers, that's loads more wounds. Nice. So he's a bit of a problem, but actually he's not made him too much of a problem that you just basically ignore it and go round it. We've then got an Anvil of Dune, Ranult Stone Singer, obviously, no upgrades. We've then got a Thane, who's got the BSB with the Master Rune of Gurney, which is the 5-up ward for the unit he's in, and then 6-up ward against non-magic shooting for everybody within, I think, 6 inches of the banner rather than command range. And then we've got some Rangers. Rangers are one of the best units in the Dwarf roster, so obviously. We've then got some Longbeards. I don't think they're worth the points, but, you know, obviously he does. I guess you can give them more points worth of stuff, I think. Because Dwarf Warriors, you can give them 50 points standard, 25 points weapon runes, whereas Longbeards, standard's the same, but the Elder, the champion, can take talisman runes of 25 points as well as weapon runes of 25 points. Which is exactly what he's done. He's taken the Rune of Passage, which is move through cover. So, yeah, I guess Longbeards. They've got better leadership. No, they've got the same leadership. They cost 4 points more for one more weapon skill. Oh, and the strength 4. Yeah. Maybe I've miscalculated. Strength 4 is pretty good. Okay. That's another thing to think about later. Then we've got some iron breakers. Only 8 of them, but they are pretty horrible to deal with. 2 thunderbreakers, aerial supremacy squadron, some gyrocopters with clatter guns, a grudge thrower, which I think are rubbish. Then we've got a load of iron drakes. Iron drakes are amazing. So he's gone for the cinder blast bombs as well. Yeah, I mean, I don't. I'm always 50-50 on cinder blast bombs, but actually, you do want these to get charged, so you might as well go for the cinder blast bombs. To be honest, I think maybe. Don't know. Because cinder blast bombs basically. So your Iron Warden, so they've got quick shot, right? So you can stand and shoot at any distance. The Iron Warden's got a BS of 5. They do have Iron Drakes. Do not have Dwarf crafted as in their special rule. That's on the weapon. So you're still -1 to hit for standing and shooting. So you're hitting on a 3, but then it just D6 plus 1, strength 5, AP 1 hits. And Cinder Blast bombs cost 15 points. So I guess if you're going to kill like an enemy cavalry model, which conceivably it could do, it just doesn't seem to be. It's not guaranteed, right? It's not guaranteed. So I'm not sure. Whereas a Trollhammer torpedo for 15 points, your Iron Drake and Iron Warden. So that costs you 36 points. So you need to kill 2 cavalry over a game with that torpedo, which you almost certainly will. So it's definitely worth it. Cool. That's an interesting list, actually. I'd love to know how that went on and won. Because you've got a king. What's going to happen? So the king's he's got to go in the Longbeards, right? He's got some Iron Drakes who are, like I said, pretty good. I think that 10-5-5's optimal. He's got a couple of gyrocopters that are in one unit rather than separate units. I don't know why they're not separate. So the king's got to go. Does the king and the thane go in with this unit? Because the king takes up 4 spots because he's on like 4 bases. So that will make it 21, and then the thane will make it 22. Or maybe he goes in here, the Grimazul. And so there's 12 effectively. So it's a 4x3 block. Because they're heavy infantry, so that's 2 ranks. And actually that would be alright, because you give them like 2 up re-rolling fails, like 5 up ward, blah blah blah. All that stuff from the anvil, so you can make them like super defensible. Maybe that's what he does. I'd be really interested. Georgios, somebody tell him to talk to me. John Cleave came in second with Dark Elves. This is like turning the meta on its head sort of result. Apart from Vampire Counts, they're normally there. But Dark Elves, we've got a Dreadlord with Pendant of Caleth, which is great. That's like, I can't remember exactly what that does. It's like reroll wounds or something. They got to reroll successful wound rolls against him. It's absolutely ridiculous, whatever it is. Pendant of Caleth. So I'm just looking it up. Oh no, sorry, it's not that at all. Idiot. It's a 5 at ward, but a 4 at ward against anything that's strength 5 or more. So because he's on a dragon, right? Anything that needs 6s to wound against him, he's going to get a 5 at ward against him. Anything that's a 5 up to wound against him or better, he gets a 4 at ward. So that's just great. Then got a sorceress on a black dragon, so double dragon list. It's not the only way to play Dark Elves, but they do have the best dragon in the game, so you might as well take 2 of them. And he's gone for the Tome of Furion, which is knows 1 more spell, Talisman of Protection, so the sorceress has got a 5 at ward. Has he gone for... He hasn't gone for the cool shield as well. There's a Shield of Grond, which is... Yes, that's the strength debuff thing. So it's 40 points and -1 strength. So He could have gone for that instead of the giant blade, but he's gone for output instead of defense, or instead of total defense anyway. Because if you go for Shield of Grond as well, you know, and the Pendant of Calith, if you're strength 5, that goes down to strength 4. So if you roll in 6s to wound, you get a 5 reward against it, and anything that's better than 6s to wound, you get a 4 reward. Do you see what I mean? It's so good, so good in combo. And actually, the two of them cost 80 points, so you've still got 20 points for something else. Like, there's not a lot of magic items, not a lot of decent weapons that you can get for 20 points, but whatever. Then he's got some crossbowmen, some warriors with a banner of Harganeth, which is improves AP by 1, which is great on spears, actually. So thrusting spears give you +1 initiative when you get charged in the front. And I think they're initiative 4 already, and they've got elven reflexes. So basically they're initiative 6 to begin with. I'm just going to check just to make absolutely sure. City Guard are initiative 4. Yeah, so you charge them, they're initiative 6. There's 24, so that's going to be a 6x4 block, probably. So that means 13 attacks that are hitting you straight off, and they're AP 1. So you don't want to charge in. You can charge into this unit with some super heavy cavalry, they'll be alright. Anything less than that, and you're going to have problems. Then we've got some Dark Riders, which are some of the, again, fast cavalry. They've got all the cool rules. They've got fire and flee. They don't have feigned flight, though, which is a bit annoying. I don't think they do. Yeah, they can have fire and flee. They've got leadership 8, and you can give them a musician. So, you know, they're pretty likely to rally after they've done their fire and flee, but still, they are still fleeing. And he's got some Cold War Knights that are leadership 9, so the stupidity shouldn't be a massive issue. And he's gone for 3 Reaper Bolt Throwers. I think that's the right... If you're going to do Reapers, you've got to take all of them or none of them, right? So you've got to take a battery of them to make sure you get absolutely loads of shots to ensure that at least one of them is going to hit, or you take none of them. It is quite expensive, but 240 points should get its points back because you've got 3 of them. And you got a couple of dragons to act as like a distraction, which means you are going to get to use them pretty much every single turn, because your opponent's really just going to be focusing on these dragons. They're going to be the thing that's worrying them the most. They shouldn't be, though. I mean, the Noxious Breath is just horrendous. So it's just strength 4, no armor saves. Ugh. Absolutely horrible. Right. So that's oh no, and then Charlie, who's got some vampire counts. Well done, Charlie. No, I'm joking. No, he's got some Vargeists, which are an interesting pick. They are very, very good. I'd love to hear how he got on with them, because there's been a bit of a debate in my comment section about whether Vargeists are any good or not. I think they're good because people who've taken them to tournaments tell me they're good. Other people tell me they're bad because they've got frenzy and are difficult to control. However, other people who like them tell me that that's not a massive issue, because you just park them near the enemy army out of charge range, and then they've normally got about 5 choices. So, and you're going to be wanting to charge one of them anyway, so it doesn't really matter the fact that they have to charge on the turn that you want them to. And then you got the Corpse Cart, which is cool. Warped Tintinabulation is pretty decent. And it's just fallen out of my head what that does. Where is it? Black Coach, Corpse Cart, Warped Tintinabulation. Oh yeah. Friendly units within 15 reduce the number of wounds lost by unstable by 1. And when a unit within 15 recovers a number of lost wounds due to a character using the invocation of Nehek, on a 4-up, they recover 1 additional wound. So, you know, that combined with the level 4 and the Scepter of Donoro, and this level 4, and Lord of the Night allows you to do it as well. Oh no, Lord of the Night, sorry, allows you to do it with dogs, doesn't it? Or something? What's Lord? Or is it bats? Lord of the Night is specific to something or other. Lord of the Night. Yes. Fell bats, bat swarms, or wolves. Oh, I was right. It was bats and wolves. Can recover D6. Would that count with warp tintinabulation, actually? Does it have to be invocation of whatever? Nehek. Where's the bloody corpse cart? Yeah, so it has to be. So it doesn't work with Lord of the Night, but it would work with the 3 invocations of Nehek that you've got going off here. So he's going to get 4 plus 3d3 plus probably another 1 or 2 because of this tintinabulation thing. And when he loses a round of combat, he's got the BSB here, which will lose a D3 fewer, and Warp Tintinabulation will lose another one. So lose D3 minus 1, and less another 1 because of the Grave God or whatever. So, you know, yeah. It's, yeah, it's, yeah, he's got the Helm of Commandment with... it's a very good list. It's got lots of... It's hitting a lot of the right notes that you need to hit to have a good vampire count list. He's got a big block of Graveguard. They're going to be very, very difficult to shift. They're toughness 4. They've got a 4-up save. They've got a 5-up regen. They've got loads of cool stuff like War Banner and all this other stuff. That means they're probably not going to lose that many when they do lose that first round of combat. And then, you know... what happens next is anybody's guess, really. So yeah, whatever. It's a very good list. I'm just a little bored of vampire counts lists. They all kind of hit that, but I mean the Vargeists are interesting. I'd like to know how they got on. I guess no, I'm not bored. I'm actually just jealous because I want to get mine done and painted and like based and all the rest. And I know that when I finish them, GW will do some kind of clarification that'll make them rubbish. Like literally the day after I've got my list together and I'm like, yes, I'm going to go to a tournament, and then GW do an FAQ and it's all terrible. I've done that before, so I don't chase the meta on purpose. I'm just jealous of people who've got vampire armies. That's what it is. Right. So, that's that one. We've done... Have we done Metropolis Centre? No, we haven't. This happened in Madrid. Oh... Okay. So, Crespo Alvaro didn't put his list up for Orc and Goblins, although we do have Skaven coming in third with 2 results, so totally breaking the meta. This is a very good result for Skaven. Oh, I didn't include this because some of these factions don't have lists and they haven't told me what their faction is, so I can't include this result in the data. That's why that's there. Right. But anyway, this list, this Skaven list, what's... okay, you've got Warlock Engineer, he's got Grace here. He's gone for Illusion, Law Familiar, Ogre Blade, because he wants to be getting off Spectral Doppelganger with Ogre Blade. Why wouldn't you? Screaming Bell. So that's going to be a bit of a nightmare in combat, if it gets to strike, that is. We've then got some Clan Rats. Some more Clan Rats with a Rattling Gun. Some Giant Rats, Rat Swarms, Gutter Runners, loads of them. Yeah, decent list that. I think that's the right way to go about Skavening at the moment. Yeah, I think Gutter Runners are pretty good because they get loads and loads of attacks and they've got poison attacks, so they can draw out some armor saves, basically. Jezzail's a strength 6, 36-inch range, AP 2 or 3 or something, so they're very good. Hellpit, again, is a big monster that requires dealing with, so it kind of worries people a little bit. And then he's got a couple of Rattling Guns. Personally, I'd make the Clan Rat units 20, no upgrades, and then he could probably afford to take another one and get another Rattling Gun. But he's trying to get them to stick around for a bit, presumably. Which is, alright. So that's a decent Skaven list, but he's obviously had to play quite well to get there because Skaven are, in trouble. This Wood Elf list came second. So we've got a Glade Lord, Dragon, Ogre Blade, yeah, Talisman of Protection, yeah. Anoints of Netlings is like -1 to hitting challenge, or maybe that's Mischiefs or whatever. And he's got a 5 at ward, and then he's gone for the it's Ogre Blade, isn't it? +2 strength, -2 AP, multiple wounds, D3 sort of thing. It's got a Treatment Ancient, which I think is the right pick for your first level 4. And if you don't want to do the Lord on Dragon, do a second level 4. Then it's got some Deepwood Scouts, some Glade Riders, which I don't think were much good, but obviously they are. Unit of Sisters, Unit of Wild Riders, Unit of War Dancers is interesting, and a Great Eagle. So not there's nothing stand out in that list that seems over the top. True Flight Arrows to give them move and shoot, doesn't it? I think. He's got reserve move as well. These have got quite a bit of utility that I'm not sure what he's trying to achieve with there, but they look interesting. Excuse me while I take a sip and a cough. Right. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. It would help if I haven't had to record this like 3 times. War for the Troll Trousers we'll do at the end. Phil Carl took top player on my ratings anyway after winning this tournament. Nova Open Prep, so it's a 2,500 point tournament. He came top ahead of Drew with his vampire counts and Josh Havley with his high elves. Drew the vampire counts as a level 4 mortal sending essentials in a way kind of the damned. You seen this before anyway. Vampire count with a dragon slaying sword, which is interesting. Supernatural horror, talisman of protection. And he's got a necromantic acolyte, a white lord that's a BSB, a couple of banshees. Down here, 10 blood knights now. It's 2,500, so he can take a bit. So he can easily afford 10 blood knights with the Drakenhalf banner. Oh, this is disgusting. So essentially, this Master Necromancer is going to hang around with these blood knights and just keep bringing them back to life. And probably on his other flank, he's going to have some zombies that are, doing all sorts of stuff. No corpse cart though, which is interesting. So just goes to show it's not mandatory. But fell bats, spirit hosts. These sorts of gribbly things are pretty common with the undead as well. So, yeah, and a couple of team banshees to do a couple of wailing dirges. He's got necromancy as well, so he can do all the leadership debuffs as well. So you can probably, yeah, you don't need that many wailing dirges to be honest. If you've got them debuffed, if you've got their leadership debuff down to like almost nothing, don't need it. Right. Josh Heavley came third with a dragon with a prince on it and a dragon with a mage on it. Double dragoning. And then we've got silver helms ×3. So he's gone for cavalry. Chariots. He's gone for 4. Presumably they had a 4 model max rather than a 3. Tyranno chariots are pretty good though. They're weirdly high strength for I think they're strength 5, aren't they, or something? They're a bit strange for light. Yeah, the strength 5 light chariots, which do D6 impact hits. So you normally light chariots are like strength 4 and do D3 impact hits. So Tyranno are pretty nasty. Yeah, and he's got some dragon princes and 3 great eagles. And he's got the Drake Master with the Rude Ring of Ruin. You see that quite a lot as well. Just gives them an extra, toolkit whilst they're manoeuvring. Right, and then Phil managed to win with this. So he's got a level 4 Necrolith. He's got a Royal Herald with a Skeleton Chariot. Pardon me, I didn't turn it off. Destroyer of Eternities. And he's got a Tomb King on a dragon, so double dragon and a BSB on a chariot. Then he's got some stalkers, some archers, a load of chariots, some tomb scorpions, and some necrosphinx. What was core then? Is this all core? I think he's gone for a thingy list, hasn't he? Has he? I don't know. Or has he gone for like a normal Grand Host list? It doesn't say about sub factions. This might be Mortuary Cult, but I'm not sure. Yeah. Oh, can they take that normally anyway? Because chariots and these, that's 4-2. I'm not sure. Maybe these Sepulchral Stalkers are also core. So if that's all his core choices, just gets it over, doesn't it? Very interesting. Bunker in the Old World. Next, which Paul Winter set up and was played in England. So very specific as to location there. Russ managed to come first. Well done, Russ. I don't think any lists were available for this one, were they? No. So Russ managed to come first with Orcs and Goblins. Pity we can't see your list, but well done. Rid took Warriors of Chaos and come second, and Dave finished off the podium with Tomb Kings. So Orc and Goblin, it's a shame we can't see that list, but anyway. Sword and Board Old World Tournament took place in Ontario, Canada, and Ayrton Singh managed to win with the Dwarfen Mountain Holds. Christian Yerime managed to come in second with Beastmen Brayherds, and Andy Rodgers with the High Elf Realms came in third. Right, Andy Rodgers. Sorry, I should stop doing that. Andy Rogers with his list Master the Blade. So he has an Archmage on a Creation Chariot, which is pretty cool. He's gone an Archmage on with a Sword of Hearth, level 4, presumably. It doesn't tell you what. Oh, he's gone High Magic. He's gone Illusion level 4, Lore Familiar with the Creation Greatblade. Interesting. I mean, and he's gone the White Sword on a chariot. The white, that's their big one, isn't it? I think. Yeah, 70 points. Strength +3, AP 2, magic attacks, monster slayer, requires 2 hands, strike last. Models whose troop type is infantry or chariot only. So infantry or chariot, not cavalry, but chariot. Yeah, so he's gone for a lion chariot with this mega weapon that makes him strength, 6, AP 2, and has Monster Slayer. So he can smash into a dragon, cast Spectral Doppelganger, which he can pick because he's got Lore Familiar, do 2d6 hits, and he's fishing for a couple of 6s so that the opponent can't ward save it. And if the opponent does ward save it, then the Archmage is probably dead. But, well, I say probably dead. I mean, Lion Chariots have got 4 wounds. The Archmage has got 3, so that's 7 wound model with an armor value of 4 up. I mean, it's not terrible, is it? It's it could be. It's not terrible, is it? And they've got the Lion Cloak, which is +1 against non-magical shooting. Yeah, +1 to save against non. So, yeah, that's a bit of a weird one, isn't it? And then he's got some Illyrian Reavers, some Silver Helms. He's got some Sisters of Avalon. He's gone for the Handmaiden with the General. And what that does is it makes something better. It means you can take a Sisters unit as core. And the Handmaiden of the Everqueen has this Horn of Isha attempt thing. During the command sub phase, single use, May attempt to use the Horn of Isha by taking a leadership check on leadership 8. If it's passed, the character and unit they've joined gains a +1 modifier to rolls to hit and wound. Now again, leadership 8 isn't massively reliable. It's relatively common to roll a 9 or more. So then he's got some sword masters, a couple of bolt throwers. You probably want 3 really. See my comments earlier, and a great eagle to flap around and cause a bit of a pain. So that's a really interesting list. And he's got a noble with a griffin that's got loads of defensive stuff. Like, I don't know. That's a really interesting list. I'd love to know how that worked. Christian Yeremar has a great Brayshame with level 4, Chariot, Hagtree Fetish, all the cool stuff. He's got a Doom Ball with Armour of Meteoric Iron this time, which is a 3 up, can't improve, which is pretty good. And he's gone for a Giant Blade, some Gouged Tusks, +1 attack with a normal hand weapon. Gouged Tusks, can't remember exactly what they do. He's got Slug Skin on the BSB Wargore, so presumably the Wargore and the Doom Bull go in the same unit, and I'm presuming it's this unit. Yeah, with a Totem of Rust. Yeah. And he's got a level 2 Bray Shaman. How is he? Yeah, he's nearly spent half his points on characters. And then he's got a load of sort of Chaffee units, and then the Minotaur Horde, and then the Gore Horde. And then he's got a load of Dragon Ogres to round everything off. So, yeah, that looks like a pretty decent... The reason I'm saying that looks like is that there's a lot of little bits, and essentially Beastmen work really well with loads of little bits around this like central block of like death. So you have your central block of death, your C-bod goes in the middle of the table, on the middle of your table anyway, and then you have all these other little units of like chaff and then other little bits of death as well. L-bods, your C-bod, your L-bods, and then chaff. And then this kind of host coalesces with the enemy, and just gradually stuff dies until your C-bod hits their biggest unit and just absolutely smashes it. Because Doom Balls are nasty as F. Right. And did Ayrton Singh win with Dwarfen Mountain Holds? Is this the second Dwarfen Mountain Holds win? It is, isn't it? Royal Clan. He's gone for Royal Clan. So we've got an Anvil, we've got a Thane with Grunye, Rune of Furnace, Rune of Passage. Very good. These basically give move through cover and flaming attacks to, I think, just the Thane, maybe the unit. He's gone for the King with the Master Rune of Smiting. That's multiple wounds D6. Absolutely nasty. On a great weapon already. Rune of Preservation gives him a 6-up ward. Master Rune of Gromrel gives him a 2-up save. Rune of Passage means move through cover. He's got Shield Bearers, so he's got more wounds. So that King's a really nasty piece of work. He's going to really hurt you if you don't get your saves off. If you do, however, he'll be alright. Then we've got some Longbeards, some Royal Clan Warriors. They've got Hesitation on the Longbeards. They've got nothing on the... Hesitation is... can't use weapons that need to charge to use, basically. So like lances, cavalry spears. You can use stuff like flails because they're not dependent on charging. You can't use like impact hits, for instance, against Hesitation, which is pretty cool. Then he's got Confusion on the Hammerers. Confusion means you don't get initiative bonus, which is sensible because the Hammerers have like initiative 4 or something on the first round of combat with their great hammers, which are basically great weapons without the Love Strike's last rule. Then he's got a Bugman's Cart for extra move. He has gone for an Anvil, yeah, so he can do the 20-inch move stuff with a few bits. He's gone for a couple of Iron Drakes, but they are definitely there. Bolt Thrower, Grudge Thrower. Yeah, pretty decent, solid Royal Clan list. Yeah. I think he's got just enough shooting to encourage the enemy to come to him. And then he's got small enough units that people will engage with them without worrying about not being able to win. But they're big enough that they can take a hit and punch back a little bit maybe as well. Yeah, great. Longbeards being strength 4. That's something I hadn't really thought about before, but I think possibly Longbeards are worth the points now. Shut up. Right, and then War for the Trousers. So we've got. Yes, I asked ChatGPT to write the blurbs for my YouTube videos. It's because I'm not good at marketing at all. I don't like it. So I asked ChatGPT to write something that sounds vaguely compelling and slightly sarcastic. Those are the cues I asked it to do. Right, anyway, so this was a 5-game tournament. Took place in Nottingham. Paul Coram came... Oh, poor Paul. Came last with Dwarfen Mountain Holes. Despite even winning a game, he came last. Shocking of everybody else not to let the Dwarves have more success. And there's Richie with his brand new Dwarfs coming in 13th. Jack Allen coming in 4th with Skaven. Now that's definitely worth a look at. Chris comes in 3rd with Warriors of Chaos, Chaos Dwarves 2nd, and Wood Elves coming in top. So let's have a look at Jack's. He's got 2 level 4 Grey Seers. He's got a couple of Warlock Engineers. He's got a Chieftain. He's got Clan Rats with a little bit of upgrades and a Rattling Gun each. So he's gone for bigger units of Clan Rats, some Night Runners, pointless, and a load of Gutter Runners, and that's it. Okay. Battle Magic, Illusion, Battle Magic, Battle Magic. So... Illusion, Law from... So stopping them from charging that spell? So that's what that's for, to stop them from charging? Maybe into Gutter Runners? I don't know. That seems... I don't know how he managed to wield that, because the problem is, it's on foot, right? So, yeah, it's going to move... Well, I think Skaven move 5, don't they? So it's going to move like 10 inches. But I can't cast if it's March, so can it? So... Like... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that list works. Yes, me, filth. Jack, get in touch. Let me know how this works, because I'm lost, to be honest. He's gone for Battle Magic, so, but it's not the little temp. I mean, if you manage to roll 3 of the little template thing, you're gonna be on for a good result. He might roll 2, to be fair. Statistically, I guess that's probably going to happen. And then he's gone for... I'm just trying to get my head around this, to be honest, because it doesn't seem to... Then he's gone for a Warp Condenser a bit. He seems to like that. Increase this... Oh, yes, it is good. Yeah, it's one of those ones where it increases your dispel range by 3. So you can put yourself, say, you're 27 inches away from your opponent's wizard, which means you can cast and they can't dispel you, but they can't, and vice versa. I think you can just keep moving, you know. And they get +1 to cast magic missiles. And can re-roll the results on miscast tables. So Warp Condenser is pretty good, yeah. And he's gone for the Shadow Magnet. Shadow Magnet. -1 to hit in shooting. Shadow Magnet. Where's he going to go then? In that one? Light Armor and the Storm Banner. Enemy units can't use fly, and all enemies shoot. Storm Banner is pretty good until you next start a turn, sub-phase. Enemy units cannot use fly, and all enemy shooting suffers an additional -1 to hit. I mean, yeah, if your opponent's like set up to charge you, I guess you can turn off their charge for a turn. I guess that's the point of that. And then he's got the spell with the 3 power scrolls, so that he's pretty much definitely going to get off that spell of, you know, you can't charge me. Which is a pretty high casting value. It's like 11 or 10 or something. But it's -1 to move and you can't march or charge or something, which is absolutely fantastic. But it's not long range, so you've got to get there so you can use it. Maybe that's what Maybe he goes with the Night Runners or the Gutter Runners or something. Unless they're loners and can only go with other loners, like assassins or something. They probably haven't thought to put that down though, have they? Where are they? Where are they? Where are you? Oi! Oi! Come along. Night Runners. No. Evasive, Fire and Flee. Oh, I guess they probably get to use that because that's one of those most of the unit abilities, isn't it? So you can put the general in one of these. Night Runners have evade. Gutter Runners have Fire and Flee and Feigned Flight, so they're better because they can, rally. They're moving 6 as well, which is interesting. I think normal rats are 5, aren't they? What about Warlock Engineers are 5, Grey Seers are also 5. Yeah. What about Assassins? Are 6. I think Master Assassins should be like movement 8. Just saying. And Swift Stride. I think that would be cool. Yeah, I really don't know. Well, I guess I do. Like, you've got the 2 blocks. You've got a lot of skirmishers to kind of sit around. The rattling guns can obviously shoot through the skirmishers because you can leave gaps for them to shoot through. So that's pretty good. You're going to be getting a decent amount of shooting off with just 2 rattling guns, to be fair. And then you've got like a lot of magic, and the law of Skavenness. They've got Warp Lightning, which is cast on a 10, but it's D3 plus 1 strength, 5 AP 3. So all of them could have that, which is... It's an 8 magic missile with a range of 18 inches, which, isn't terrible. Cloud of Corruption you could pump out as well. Which is a small blast template, vortex thing. Dangerous terrain, can't see over it, and if you're within 3 inches of one of them, enemy units are -1 toughness. So that could be useful. Getting elves down to toughness 2, for instance, could be good. So those spells are all right. I know he's got the Ruby Ring of Ruin as well to just do a bit more output. So the output's in the magic, really. And then these are a bit of a screen. And then he's got this thing here to try and shut down charges. But like I said, I don't think the range is great, is it? It's pretty terrible. Spells are about here in the book, aren't they? Illusion. It's Miasmic Mirage. -2 movement, cannot march or charge. 15-inch range casts on 11. So that's why he's gone for the Power Scroll, to try and make sure he gets it. But I guess 15 inches... You're going to have to be like really near the front with that particular Grey Seer. So you're putting him at risk, really. Yeah, I mean, a really interesting list. I'd love to play it, actually. I'd love to play against that. And then we got... so that came 4th, I think. Yeah. And then... Did Wood Elves won? Yeah. So this list came 3rd. It's Demon Prince with armor of 3 up save, can't be improved. Arcane Familiar, Spell Familiar. So +1 spell. What's Arcane Familiar? I forget what that does, actually. Arcane Familiar. Hold on. Arcane Familiar is here. No spells from 2 Lords of Magic rather than the usual 1. Okay, so Spell Familiar gives him +1 spell. So he's level 4, so he's got 5 spells. He can choose those spells from 2 Lords of Magic. One of those is Battle Magic, but he's got to roll. I mean, I guess if he wants like to roll 4 dice and he's got 1 signature spell from the other Law of Magic that he wants to just have, I guess that's the strat there, isn't it? But he's already got Zinch, and Zinch has got a great magic missile. 18 inches, D6 plus 3, strength 5 AP2 hits, or strength 4 AP2 hits, something like that. The Zinch signature spell is already amazing. So I don't know what he's after there, but anyway. Sorcerer Lord, Marcus Zinch, again, Skull of Catan. Skull of Catan is like +1 to cast for him and a wizard within 3 inches or something like that. Him and all friendly, and it might not be friendly, it might be all wizards within 3 inches, I think. Have I got the right chaos magic item? I might not have done, to be fair. Hold on, I'll just quick check. Just a quick check of the old magic items for chaos. Arcane is +1 to cast within 3 inches. It's all wizards. Yeah. It's Infernal Puppet that's the negative one, which is enemy wizards within 24 inches. Enemy wizards must roll an extra d6 and discard the highest result. So I wonder how that Infernal Puppet works with Dwarfen, with a power scroll. I guess you roll 4 dice and discard the highest and the lowest, which is okay, bit weird, but yeah, I quite like Infernal Puppet actually. I think it's the problem is your opponent needs to be taking magic, or else it's just a waste of 50 points. So up against dwarves, and not everybody takes magic, so from a tournament perspective, it's not really worthwhile taking. Whereas the Skull of Catan +1 to cast, well, you know, you're always going to need that, right? Core units, we've got 5 Warhounds, 5 Warhounds, 5 Warhounds. They've all got Vanguard. This is perfectly sensible. Big blocks of Forsaken, brilliant. Khorne, Hatred, everybody. Yeah, good. 3 Shartaks, 6 Chosen Knights. Great list. Absolutely great list. Apart from the Demon Prince. Personally don't like Demon Princes, but, you know, whatever. It's got a 4-up ward and a 3-up save, I guess, so it's going to do a bit of... And it's got wings and level 4, so I guess there's a bit of utility built into that around it being a super tough level 4 wizard. And this level 4 wizard has a Chaos Dragon with a Skull of Catan, so he's trying to build something a bit like Egrim Van Horstman, who used to carry the Skull of Catan. So the only downside of the Sorcerer Lord on the Dragon is that it's actually only toughness 5, which I think is just shit. Because your Exalted Sorcerer is only toughness 4, and the Dragon gives you +1 toughness. So if you put the Chaos Lord on there, who's toughness 5, you get up to toughness 6, right? Whereas if you put a Sorcerer Lord on a Dragon, you're still only toughness 5. So the Sorcerer Lord makes the Dragon weaker somehow, or makes the Dragon less tough, which is a bit odd. But other than that, great list. Love everything in it. Well done. Tom Carley managed to come second with Chaos Dwarves. He's got a Black Orc War Boss, which you don't see massively often with Chaos Dwarves, but he's on a Wyvern with all the usual bits that Black Orc War Bosses on Wyverns have. He's got a couple of Hobgoblin Khans because he's only taken 1 unit of Wolf Riders. What's the other unit? What's the other Hobgoblin Khan for? Oh, one's got the Ruby Ring of Ruin, so presumably that one goes with the unit, and that one sort of rides around shooting its Ruby Ring off. And then he's got the Sorcerer Prophet on a Bale Taurus with a single Mantle of Stone, so he's up to toughness 7, which is still pretty amazing. 5-up ward, 3-up save, Obsidian Vambraces. I don't know what they do. Probably nothing pleasant, knowing Chaos Dwarves. Obsidian. Where are they? Vambraces. +1 strength. And magic res 1. However, if they roll 1 to hit, the Gauntlet shatter and can no longer be used. Alright. So basically the first round of combat they get +1 strength, which I guess is not bad for 15 points, is it? So strength 5. Has he got a Dark Forge weapon? Yeah, Dark Forge weapon is basically a weapon that you have to roll at the start of the battle what it does. It's got some very cool effects, it's got some very not so cool effects. So basically it could be flaming or Hatred Everyone, which is alright. In fact, Hatred Everyone is probably the one you want to roll with the Vambraces, isn't it? Yes, it's also an ensorcelled weapon, so it's magical attacks and 1 AP standard plus something else. But yeah, cool. And then he's got a Black Orc mob because Black Orc War Boss with mostly shields and some great weapons. 9 is the 9 of them, I think. And then he's got some cutthroats because they're cheap as chips. Then some Infernal Guard with fire glaives. Not blunderbusses. He's not got the Dreadquake mortar, which is really interesting. He's only got one Iron Demon, and he's got Hobgoblin bolt throws are so cheap you might as well take them. So he's really kind of lent into characters. I think, you know, characters are where his value is, and that seems to have worked very well for him. Because, to be fair, the Black Orc War Boss is going to be difficult to kill, right? It's really going to be difficult to kill. So he's got a full plate, 4 up, Trollhide Trousers, 3 up. He's got a shield, 2 up. Well, not in combat because he can pick the great weapon instead. And then he's gone for the effigy of Mork, which is... Oh, what does that do again? I can't remember. Effigy of Mork is... obviously not in the normal book. It's obviously in the Arcane Journal, which is an EPUB, so takes about half an hour to load. For some bizarre reason, why they can't just do them in PDFs like every bloody bugger else does, I have no idea. I've paid for the thing. Why can't I view it in the software I want to view it in? Thank you very much, you controlling gits. Right. Don't know where that came from. Really sorry. That's the wrong thing. Effigy of Mork. Where's the bloody effigy? There it is. 35 points. It is... Oh, no. Oh, for God's sakes. Why do they do this? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, why do they give factions the ability to do this? So they've just got, like, so everybody else used to have to pay 60 points to get -1 to hit, right? And +1 to their armor save, okay? Now, orcs just pay 35 points for the -1 to hit. They've also got Trollhide Trousers, which means +1 to armor save and regen 5+, right? So what you can do with your Black Orc War Boss is your Enchanted Shield gives you a 6-up ward, just basically against shooting. So the effigy of... anyway. So that's going to be pretty tough to kill because it's -1 to hit. It's got a 3-up save in combat. It's got a 5-up ward. It's got a 5-up regen. And it's on a Wyvern. Wyverns are nasty. And then we've got a Sorcerer Prophet on a Bale Taurus. Not a Great Taurus. Is it Great Bale Taurus or Bale Taurus or Great Bale? Bale, Great Bale. Let's have a look. I mean, the Iron Demon is great. You know, I quite like that list with 2 of them. I thought that's pretty cool. Where's the bloody monsters gone? Magic. It must be before. It's normally before. Alarm Muscle. Here we go. Great Taurus. Bale Taurus. Yeah, Bale Taurus is the big one, yeah. Which, of course, you go for because it's the one that's +1 toughness. Yeah, yeah. So the Bale Taurus is pretty nasty anyway. And the Bale Taurus, or Great Taurus, also give you a 3-up ward against flaming attacks. There's quite a lot of flaming attacks. So, yeah, this is all very good. Well done, Tom. Well done. And especially well done to David for winning with Wood Elves. So we've got a Treeman Ancient with Battle Magic, Sensible, Glade Lord on a Dragon with stuff that makes him quite difficult to kill. Then he's got some Glade Guard. Quite a lot of little Glade Guard units all with Hagbane tips, and he's got 3 units of Sisters to be getting out some. Normally against most opponents you're going to be putting out Plague of Rust, and then hitting something that you've Plague of Rusted with 6, 12, 22, 32, 37 poisoned attacks AP2. Oh, that's great. And I mean, it's not going to do a tremendous amount of damage, but it's going to do like enough, isn't it? Really, like, you know, you shoot all that at, like, I don't know, like a high elf dragon with the 2 up 5 up 5 up, right? 37. So let's say 7 wound automatically, probably another 12 hit. That's another 2, maybe 3 wound. Now the 2 to 3 wound have armor bane, so they're going to be basically AP 3. So you're probably not going to save those. And the 7 that auto wound, AP 2. So you got 3 or 4, maybe 5. 5 go through, 4 go through. 1 saves at his ward save, and then you got 3 to regen. 1 will go. So maybe 2 wounds a turn with all of that. Blackbriar javelins are pretty nasty as well. And he's got a combat treatment and a Great Eagle, so a bit more punch. So yeah, and then he's got this Glade Lord, which will be quite difficult to shift, to be fair. Wood Elves are tough in a different way, if that makes sense. They do other things that make them hard to kill. So we've got, what do we have? Befuddlement of Mischiefs, -1 to weapon skill and initiative. And the other one was Annoyance of Netlings. Annoyance of Netlings, -1 to hit in a challenge. So his opponents... so basically he's going to hit another dragon, make them -1 to weapon skill and initiative, which is pretty good. And then he's going to hit them with this Annoyance of Netlings as well. So not only are they -1 weapon skill, which means they probably go, if they're like a mega character, they probably go from being a 3 up to hit to a 4 up to hit. They're now actually hitting on 5s. So it's going to be quite difficult to hit. And then he's got this Talisman of Protection, which doubles up. I'm a bit surprised he didn't go for Miracule's Locus, which is something about... he's gone for a great weapon himself, which is why he hasn't. But Miracule's Locus means that essentially strength modifiers do not apply against him. Also, he doesn't get any strength modifiers back. So he's gone for a great weapon, which is why he hasn't gone for Miracule's Locus. But 3 units of Sisters, absolutely bang on. All of this Hagbane fire is little MSU style, is pretty useful, actually. Yeah, he's gone for units of 6 where he can to make the maths easier a little bit. But yeah, it's a pretty... In fact, no, he's actually just spent over 501, hasn't he? So yeah, 2 units of Scouts, because you're allowed 1 per 1,000, aren't you? Cool. So yeah, that's a really good Wood Elf list, and this is exactly what I mean by the models aren't available. Like, Wood Elves would be doing better were there good models available, and they're just not. None of the models are available, so people are just playing with what they've got. And David happens to have the good stuff. So that's it, I think. I think this video's been quite long, hasn't it? It's gosh, it's nearly 2 hours long. That's a very long meta video. I don't know why it's taken so long this time around, really, but anyway, I think interruptions. I've been recording this since about 6 this morning, and it's now 9:30. So it's been a bit of a slog, really, because I keep getting interrupted and I have to start again. But anyway, thank you very much for listening. I hope, yeah, this is ChatGPT. This is you know, me trying to ask it loads of interesting and weird questions, and doesn't always work. But yeah, thanks for listening. If you've liked the video, then do that. And if you've got this far through, you should probably subscribe, I'd suggest. I mean, if you don't already. Oh God, stop yawning. Need to breathe more. That's my problem, actually. I think I've got some like oxygen absorption issue, which is why I keep getting headaches that go away when I breathe a bit more. So I need to clear out my lungs somehow. I do smoke very infrequently, but I do smoke. So I guess it's probably that catching up with me a little bit. But not really through choice, but habit more than anything. But that's another conversation for another day. I know some people think you can choose to just get rid of your habits. The vast majority of research on human behaviour says you can't, but you know, who let an expert stand in the way of of their opinion? What kind of weak man lets an expert stand in the way of them having an unfounded opinion? Anyway, I don't know. I'm in a really grumpy, weird mood today. But anyway, I'm glad I've got this meta video done. It's been like an hour and 50 now. Anyway, more hobby stuff to come soon. I want to, I want to get my thing painted. I've got a couple of videos. I've got a video coming out on the GW's annual report, which is more or less a philosophy lecture. It's supposed to be me teaching people how to read books and how to read between the lines, but I ended up ranting about something else instead, which is totally unlike me, uncharacteristic of me to, normally I'd stick massively to the point and don't deviate and get distracted easily at all. Anyway, I'm going to say toodaloo because there's a shaft of light coming through. This is annoying me now. And I actually need to go to work and earn some actual money. So well done to these guys for hitting the top of the tables. Really good results. Yeah, he's on there. Good. No, because he happened. He was on the tournament last weekend, wasn't he? Hold on. I think I've just something's gone wrong. Richie. I'm sure I saw him there, didn't I? Yes, 10. He should be there. Oh no! Oh no, you haven't. Look, this is. I absolutely hate it when bloody bits of software do this. He's not got a. Oh, I know what that'll be. Yeah. ChatGPT this week decided to put a space after all the people who've got like a club after their name. That's fine. Oh, do I have to go through everybody? No, Phil. It's done Phil properly. Oh, that's after I told it to stop being rubbish. Right, hold on. Richie's just about to go up the charts. There we go. That's fixed that slightly. So now we've reflected the last. So apologies to everybody. That's the top players. 1 hour and 50 in, and I've worked out what the problem was. But yeah, Richie's now 7th rather than wherever he was before. Where was he before? He was 11th. Because row 1 is taken up by the labels. Who else moved around? Yeah. Cool. And Jack Allen, yeah, who I think also went there. So, yeah, Jack Allen's not quite above Luna, though. But Luna has, again, won every tournament she's entered. So, well done. Anyway, I'm going to say toodaloo now and go and get something to soothe my throat, which is now run ragged from about 5 or 6 hours of. I've recorded more videos before this as well, so I really do hope you appreciate it. Anyway, yeah, like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And I'm looking over there for no reason whatsoever. So toodaloo.